love the Monsterverse, and I enjoyed Godzilla and Kong Empire. It's always wonderful when you see new monsters being introduced, new characters to the story, because kaiju are the reason that we really come here. And I just love seeing brand new kaiju trollop their way onto the screen, only to be immediately killed right after being introduced. And no part of this movie made me feel as salty as when they, spoilers, killed off Tiamat.
I'm sorry, what?
Since I don't have that much footage for Tiamat, since at the time of this video, the movie was still in theaters, I'll just do some doodling of a chibi baby version of her, because I gotta get this off my chest. So I know that she was introduced in the graphic novels, right? And my first thing was, good grief, she is a beautiful piece of work. Now I get it, Godzilla has to protect the earth and all that jazz, and there's a lot more history that is not mentioned in the movie. So for people who didn't read the graphic novels, they're probably wondering, why should we care about this monster? And more importantly, for people who did read the graphic novels, or who just merely just know about Tiamat's existence, why the hell didn't we get a kaiju fight? Like a legitimate kaiju fight? I mean, we see little tiny sections of the kaiju fighting, and then it just cuts away, and then we see Tiamat sliced up like pepperoni rings floating in the middle of the ocean as Godzilla just swims off to go to sleep in her bed right after fish filleting her. It's the disrespect for me, though. There's no competition, and I understand. I was led to believe that Tiamat was a lot more powerful than they let on, and Godzilla just came in and was like, hello, we're doing this today. I like to talk to you about our Lord and Savior, and that's me. So I'm gonna do you a solid and send you to heaven today, because goodness me knows you've been putting the work in to get sent there. Tiamat is minding her business, by the way, at this very moment. But she's not just some pretty ribbon worm under the ocean. She's supposed to be pretty powerful from my understanding. She's also pretty ballsy and very territorial, as is Godzilla, and she's been beaten by Godzilla before, apparently, and just like every other Titan, when he clapped her upside the dragon cheeks, she said, "I'm sorry, Daddy," and went back into hiding. She's known or classified as a destroyer titan like Ghidorah. So how is she able to go up against Godzilla, which was a decent fight, by the way, and then just blink once and disappear into many different pieces, as if some strange ring of dimensional portals opened up all at the same time along the length of her body, is beyond me. And it's even worse because we don't see her, and I get that they did that story-wise for some kind of suspense to see who would make it out alive, and it was like building suspense, but it was also very annoying because we saw Godzilla boil his lobster, which I'm now realizing was Scylla. I didn't catch that before because I'm like, no, it can't be Scylla because she looks drastically different. So it must be another version of her, some other kaiju that's like her, possibly a male that wants to mate with her. Nope. They just randomly killed off Scylla as well. Just off rip, you're dead. Bite the dust. Suck my toes. Use your tongue tips and clean out the stuff from underneath the toenails so it can line your esophagus and prepare you for the next delectable course, and then on to the next event. I didn't even have time to process what the hell was going on. Now, mind you, it's amazing, and I always enjoy watching Godzilla fight, but I figured we would have seen him fight a little bit more. He honestly was more in the background fighting in this movie than the focus, even though we did get to see him fight. I'm just a little bit more greedy. Kind of feels like those obstacle backgrounds in the Super Smash Brothers franchise where you're fighting, but there's stuff going on in the background, but that's not really the focus. It's just stuff is happening to your characters and you're aware, but just faintly. Okay, it's a little bit more than that, but still, if you're gonna make a movie called Godzilla and Kong, where Godzilla and Kong are both in the movie and Godzilla's name is before Kong's, which is strategic as well, and it sounds better, can we get one good fight with him that's not just with Kong? I mean, we had a good one with Kong, and that was not even taken very seriously because Kong was like, I'm just trying to tell you something. Now, I understand narratively, they probably opted not to do this because nobody knew Tiamat, so they didn't want to focus on her too much. If she was gonna die anyway, I get it. They just wanted people to have a kaiju, and that's what they asked for. More kaiju, new kaiju, and I am grateful for that. But because of what we know about it, the new kaiju, or at least for those had been following that or found out information on it, it was a little bit disappointing and disrespectful. I'm not sad that I'm not really sad that she died. I should say that. I'm not really sad that Tiamat died. I'm sad of the way it happened because they made it seem as though she was this really powerful thing. And I mean, she's in the Destroyer class, and isn't Scylla as well? I mean, to be fair, aren't all the kaiju in the Destroyer class except for like the ones that are huge buffalo on like Skull Island or something? I guess kaiju like Mothra wouldn't fit in that class because her wings are like dust, so she can fly and spit webs at people and sting and attack one thing at a time or revive. And she's basically a healer class. she's definitely not a tank. So I guess she'd be classified as like a mage or something. Definitely not destroyer of worlds type of kaiju. And that's okay. So here we have Godzilla, who is super powerful and smashing through these kaiju, and we barely get to see him fight them. But we get to see Kong fighting more than Godzilla, even though he's sharing the title name with him. So it would have been nice at least to see one big kaiju fight other than just when Godzilla is with Kong. But I get it. They're trying to appease the audience members who are not necessarily kaiju fans, but also want to see action. And also Godzilla and Kong, it made sense that they have that little anti-gravity fight together. That was cute. But again, that doesn't stop the fact that we want to see like the new kaiju, them fighting with the new kaiju as well, because we already got Scar King and Icebox Mouth, Shimo, fighting with them. We got like, what, 2 battles with that or more than that. And so it would have been nice, you know, it would have been a great time to do that with Tiamat, to see a new kaiju and then see, you know, show us what this monster can do. We barely get to see what Tiamat could do. She just unravels herself like a freaking extension cord and roars and glows really bright and then wraps Godzilla, and that's literally it. She just woke up in her panties and is like, oh my god, you got me. And she roars and they get upset for a while and then she's in pieces. I mean, Godzilla is just smacking all the women up and down this movie, and I feel like there's a message there somewhere. The first message is, bitch, I don't care if you're hungry and you're all skin and bones with spider legs. You don't eat unless I tell you to eat. And secondly, I don't care that you don't want me in your house right now seeing you in your pink lingerie and your sexy dragon ass. I'm beating the shit up until you piss red. And then I'm gonna sleep in your bed and wear your clothes as I feel myself for the rest of the movie. Godzilla got that shit on, and absolutely zero squirrel nuts were given about Tiamat. We didn't even get time, like if people didn't read the graphic novels, we didn't get time to feel anything for this monster because it happened so damn fast. He wasn't even actively a threat, bro. She was literally sleeping. So imagine people outside of the Godzilla sphere will come in and be like, man, this thing's a predator. Godzilla's a bully. He's a menace. Because I get Scylla, but Tiamat, this pretty dragon thing was literally doing nothing from the rest of the audience's point of view. It's just this pretty legendary Pokemon, and then it's just like it was there and then it wasn't. And that's just how animals roll. Tiamat happens to be keeping to herself because she was sitting on the largest deposit of natural radiation, which is what the kaiju eat, and Godzilla was like, yeah, I don't want to share with you, but I want that. I don't want to take you out on a date. I just want to have what you're having, but I don't want you to have that anymore. And oh yeah, I want to wear your clothes afterwards. I'm repping these colors now. And dare she utter a word? Maybe Shorty was just asking a freaking question and Godzilla backhanded her until she exploded into 7 different dishes. That was so painfully sad that I actually wanted to cry when I saw that. I was so excited to see her and I was like, oh, pretty dragon. And then she immediately became sea serpent sashimi. Like, this movie is so fun and lighthearted and I really love it. I want to watch it again and again and again. But the more you look over the scene is the more, you know, you come away feeling like somebody, you know, had a vendetta against Tiamat or something. The way they did her in this scene. It feels so similar to the way that they did Zilla, you know, the bootleg American Godzilla, the first one that popped up in live action that people hated but I liked, in the way that they portrayed Zilla in the Final Wars. Like, there was no chance. It was literally disrespectful on purpose, and that's what this felt like. I get it for Zilla because from the Japanese point of view, it looked like a mockery of their actual Godzilla, but Tiamat literally did nothing. Kaiju's just out here wanting to live, and Godzilla's like, no. Living is for losers. Now dying, that's where it's at, and my subjects are not losers, are they? Yes, we dying up in this bitch. Can't even get a freaking sip of water without Godzilla tossing his foot through your sternum. These kaiju, they're legit starving their tits off and out of desperation are trying to get something to eat or go on a date with another kaiju, only for Godzilla's fat ass, God bless him, I love him so much, to pimp slap them back into their room to continue their marathon of starvation and repression. It's kind of messed up, but I guess it is what it is in the kaiju world. King Kong definitely has it better. He's down in Hollow Earth doing what he do, but it's even messed up for him because he was lonely all this time because Godzilla's like, yeah, you could stay in the Hollow Earth. You got all that space, more than what most of the kaiju have up here. But then he has nobody to share it with. That's kind of mean. But anyway, in all seriousness, I'm so glad we got to see kaiju and like more kaiju and new ones like that one in the water that King Kong, he's not even King Kong yet. He's just Kong right now. When does he become king? Anyway, that pretty legendary Pokemon looking thing. First thing, like when it came up, I was like, let's Gyarados. But I hope we get to see even more kaiju fights. Adam Wingard definitely outdid himself with this one. Even though it was silly and stupid and fun, this is the kind of kaiju movie that I love. I think a lot of people can agree the kind of kaiju movie that they're looking for. I really still feel sorry for Tiamat. But maybe I'm biased because I also love mystical dragon-looking creatures that have flower petals around their heads. At least we got to see her one last time, just a brief second. Did they at least eat her flesh? Does all that meat just go to waste? I mean, I know that there's a lot of kaiju that there's radiation inside of their bodies, but is there a point in time when the radiation just leaves? Because she was sitting on the biggest deposit of radiation. Now she's out in the ocean just floating around. Does the water seep up that radiation? Does it dispel? And then, you know how many people you could feed? Like, at least she wouldn't be wasted. Like, there's so much freaking food and Godzilla's not eating it. Can people get fed? Like, there's people starving all around the world, and now there's kaiju guts just floating there for the taking, carving off a piece. Everyone can just have their fill. You know how many nations that could feed? But then people are evil, and they're gonna say, it's kaiju meat, so it's gonna be super expensive. So even though it's literally free, we're gonna charge you an arm and a leg so that the poor people who actually need the food don't even get the free food that's just sitting in the ocean. Then I'm sure if you told them, hey, pool your resources together for a boat and go get it, like the freaking One Piece, they would do it. Nope, nope. Feeding people, just like Godzilla, we very much are tyrants in that regard when it comes to food and water. God forbid. I mean, if people could charge for air, they would. I think they do in some cases. No, free meat? No, what's that? Let's burn it. Even if it's not irradiated, let's just burn that shit. Food? Starving people. Stick figures? In countries that, you know, they're dying because their stomach's eating itself? No. Why are we gonna give them food? Food? What? It's so sad. She's just not only going to die, she's not even going to get to be swallowed down by people upon her death. Poor bitch.